this thing on?
I'm your co-host, Blake Cook, aka Blackbeard. There's Kyle Morgan.
It's so quiet in here.
Blue Bear. We're here to discuss.
I'm just going to hold this right in front of me.
I don't know what to do
Today we're
with
going
my
to
hands.
discuss
Just gonna bring my hands up. I don't know what to do with them.
and I black out.
And then we black out. Just kidding.
All right. Are you going to introduce us or what?
We doing it?
Introduce show and introduce yourself.
Oh man, I like when I hear the music.
Yeah, dude. Let's get it going.
Oh, yeah, hold on to it.
And play some butt rock.
Welcome back to the Black and Blue Show. I'm your co-host, Blake Cook, aka Blackbeard.
And I'm Kyle Morgan, aka Blue Bear.
And we're just here, guys. We're going to talk about some things, hanging out, talk about the week, talking about what we have coming up.
Yeah.
We have a busy schedule.
Yes, we do. But before we get into that, how'd your week go, Blake Cook?
The week was good. A crazy weekend. It's been a busy week. We had the elections. We have training coming up. We traveled a little bit this weekend. I think you celebrated one of your kids' birthdays this weekend.
Mm-hmm. Kyler's 19th birthday. Yeah.
Getting old.
Yeah, but yeah, a lot of things going on. We're going to prioritize this show and just get more repetitions doing it and hopefully it's something that you guys enjoy. But yeah, I mean it's just like everybody's life, man. It's busy. You got to prioritize the things that you want in your life, and taking the time to to be present is the biggest thing. And I have to constantly remind myself of that. And
make time for yourself and your family.
Yeah. Yep.
We get so busy that we get locked in. We don't do that. That's kind of why me and Nicole just took off this weekend. Was just we don't ever take time for us. Having a 16-year-old, we're picking him up, taking him to work.
He didn't go with you guys?
No. He hung out with Granny.
Yeah.
He was miserable. Miserable.
She came over to the house?
Yeah.
At least he got to be home, kind of.
Yeah, and he's like, we're never doing this again. She's giving our cat UTI. She's watched some of her. We had a bunny rabbit one time that she watched. She watched it for.
How does she give your cat a UTI?
So she fed it human food. And male cats have to have certain water-based food because their pee holes are different.
Oh, Georgie.
I learned that because it cost me $1,500, and he almost died. We came back from a 2-day trip from Nashville and went straight to the ER because her cat was laying in the living room, and she just thought he was sleeping, but he was dying. So she watched a bunny rabbit we had one time named Jack. She had the rabbit for 2 days. And Stacy got it as a Christmas present. She took it home the day after Christmas to watch it because we went to my mom's. And she locked it in a bedroom with a declawed cat. So when we got back, she brought the bunny rabbit to our doorstep, and it was having a heart attack because it had been fighting for its life for 2 days.
Yeah.
So he was miserable. So that being said,
Bonnie went with you guys.
Yeah. I do not. She's
where'd y'all
precious.
Go? Where'd y'all go?
So we wanted to camp out the van, right? We've spent some money and bought some camping stuff, and
Is it a van or is it?
it's a war wagon
It's a war wagon.
slash camper. But we wanted to test it out. It was not. We need a tent. So
What'd y'all?
we went
did
to
you do? No. Because it's big enough in the back. Did you put a mattress in the back? Or what?
Yeah, but because I have that safe,
Yeah.
it kind of so the mattresses that we have, the van is actually 70 inches wide. The mats are 60 inches. They're 30 inches a piece. But that second mattress, you got to ride it up the safe a little bit, so
So then you're kind of like rolling into
Yeah, and the temperature, because North Carolina sucks, the temperature wasn't what it said it was going to be. It said it was going to be high 50s, ended up being low 70s. So I woke up 4 times, turning the van on, cranking the AC on. So it was, and then Nicole had a shower house experience. She's never showered in a bathhouse at a campground. She had a meltdown. Like,
did she bring shower shoes?
No. No.
That's some day one stuff.
No. She was using hand soap out of the sink, from the sink to bathe with. And I don't think she's ever going to want to go camping again. There were like spiders in the bathhouse. And I'm from West Virginia, so I probably traumatized her a little bit too by picking spiders up and flicking them at her because it was funny.
Is it Neuse River Falls or
Cliffs of the Neuse?
Cliffs of the Neuse.
It was good. It was a last minute thing. So because of the hurricane damage in Western North Carolina, all the major parks that people like frequent to were closed. Yeah. Until December. So the good ones that are still left, like Mount Airy, not Mount Airy, but Pilot Mountain and Hanging Rock, they're packed, they're full. So we barely got one at Cliff at the Neuse, but man, it's a nice park, but dude, there was sand. Our campsite was just sand, and I'm like trying to get away from sand. Yeah. So I'm constantly like got Bonnie's dirty paw. So as we go to bed, I have to wipe her down, put her in, have the little leaf blower, so I'm blowing out all the sand. The camping was miserable. Yeah. We got there too late because I spent a little extra time at OP Tactical getting those Solomons for the BP thing. So we got there, it was a disaster. And then day 2 was better, but as you know.
Did you hang out at the campsite or you just pack up and?
No, we packed up. We were, I think if it would have been more woodsy, like we were in the woods, but the campsite is just so old. It was built in 1954. So, and they've had the same sites for that long. So there's no more grass on the actual campsites. It's just dirt and sand. Yeah. I got this Facebook Marketplace. I got this 17 or 20 inch Blackstone camp grill I paid $40 for it. It was used once. So I had all that. That's what we made our steaks and stuff on that night before. But we were going to cook breakfast and hang out for a little bit. But man, we woke up and we were both like, let's go. Yeah. We're out. And then went on an adventure up to Washington, North Carolina, which was super cool. Yeah.
So let's just stop tap dancing around it and get into it.
Oh, okay.
About your bed and breakfast.
So
debacle.
Yeah, I'm not gonna throw the name of the bed and breakfast, but man. So most of you guys know, and if you don't know me, I'm a massive pirate fanatic, especially North Carolina pirates.
They know you from the last episode.
Oh, yeah. We did talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, no, but it is good. Like, that's where Blackbeard comes from.
Yeah, it's not,
or his moniker or whatever.
Yeah, it just it fascinates me. Steve Bonnet, Blackbeard, several other pirates, Henry Avery, frequent North Carolina a lot, and it's just real fascinating to know that a lot of this stuff. So, but we'll dive into it. So we went to Washington, North Carolina, which was it's the Pamlico River that flows up into Washington, and it was a massive pirate hideout in the 1700s before it was ever even Washington. It didn't get named Washington until after the Revolutionary War, and it became Washington in 1776, which was created Washington because it was a mini actual Washington D.C. is what they were going to try to turn it into, but it never happened. So we got this awesome 200-year-old house, bed and breakfast. It's massive. It's 2.5 stories, and so I have a service dog. Her name's Bonnie. Outside training, she goes everywhere we go. She's a phenomenal companion, and she's very well trained, and I take her everywhere off leash. She's great. So we go to this bed and breakfast, and we book the Explorer room, right? The rooms are all characterized of a theme, and the only room that was left was the Explorer, which was no why nobody was in it. But we go to the bed and breakfast, and when we walk in, it's a keyless or it's a check-in-less type thing. So we get our card and our key, and we go up to the room, and then we get a knock on the door, and this little sassy man comes opens the door, or we open the door, and it's this little sassy guy, and he's like, we're a pet-free facility, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, all right, man, cool. She's a service dog. Like, there won't be no issues. He's like, well, I don't care. She's not allowed here. And I'm like, well, she is allowed here. She's actually allowed anywhere in this country. And nobody can tell me that she can't. And I said, you can only ask me like 2 questions, man. That's, is it a service dog, and what tasks does she perform? Now, if she barks, you can ask me to silence her. And if she barks again, then you can tell me I have to leave. So just so you know that. And he goes, well, I used to work for the ADA. I can ask you whatever I want, blah, blah, blah. And like, I feel Nicole, she doesn't do good under pressure. She's like nowhere to be found. I'm like, dude, all right, nobody's got my back. Cool, it is what it is. And then the main owner comes down, and he's like, hey, man, he's an attorney. And he used to work for the State Department for 22 years. He said, hey, man, I'm tremendously sorry. Like, we accept service dogs. I don't know. It's his first time dealing with it, blah, blah, blah. I was like, all right, cool, whatever. So it made us feel uncomfortable. So we're like, hey, let's just go to Bath tonight. Let's just go visit Bath. Let's go eat dinner and go visit Bath. Let's not spend a lot of time around here. And we didn't want to spend a lot of time because the room of the Explorer room just was slammed with African artifacts. Like shrunken, like monkey heads and all these like artifacts from Africa. I'm not talking like 10. I'm talking 60, 70 packed in this 2-bedroom little.
So tribal stuff, right?
Oh, all tribal stuff. Yeah. And Nicole asked him about it, and they're like, oh yeah, we got it when we went to Africa, blah, blah, blah. But we start looking around. There's like no TV in this room.
It makes sense because he worked for the State Department.
Yep.
So that makes a lot of sense.
They do and the guy that his partner, his boyfriend, also did some traveling for work in Africa. So that's a lot of the house had a lot of kind of old Africa stuff in it, kind of everywhere. So so we start looking around, and there's no TV. We're like, all right, cool. Maybe this is just more of like an intimate kind of thing where they don't want you watching TV, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, all right, well, let me start researching this guy that owns this place. So I find an article, and then it's a Facebook link. So I click on his Facebook link, and the first picture, man, on this dude's profile is he's like in the desert in some tighty whities. Clearly see his ding-a-lang with these like knee-high or shin-high leather boots on, both nipples pierced, sitting there posing half naked. So I start scrolling through more, and it's like him posing half naked in these rooms, in the lobby couch. I'm like, half naked, smoking cigars. And Nicole starts panicking. She starts watering her eyes. She's like, they're going to kill us. They're going to us. She's like, they're watching us right now. I'm like, no, it's not. It's not like that. They're not going to do that. That's weird. So I'm like, I'm curious now. So I start kind of like looking around, and I open up the drawer next to the nightstand, and it's almost an empty bottle of anal lube. I'm like, all right, these things are supposed to have bobbles, but we have a half empty bottle of anal lube. And that's when we decided, all right, let's get out of the room.
Did you say anal lube?
Anal lube.
Okay.
Like butt lube. Like for butt sex. And it is. I don't know if they were like.
Maybe it's butt stuff, dude.
It's definitely butt stuff.
Yeah.
I think they went to the Explorer room and got it on and forgot their bottle. Or my theory, this is just my theory, no TV. They had a whole little bar down at the bottom that was free in the bed and breakfast. They expect people to get drunk free. Like, because it's top shelf tequila and whiskey. Like, it's not bottom. It is top shelf tequila and whiskey. And maybe people
like Jose Cuervo and stuff.
Oh, dude, it was
I'm just messing. I don't,
no, Jose Cuervo is awful. I don't drink no more, but
yeah.
But I think they expect people to get drunk and then go up to the room and get bored because there's no TV, and then do maybe some butt stuff or some just sex in general,
or just come and check on you, like, hey, how's the Explorer room going right
but
now?
I felt like we were being recorded, and it's not hard to put a camera in some of those things.
Yeah, that's always my worry, man. Like, it's not something I'm scanning the room, but
because we stay at a lot of Airbnbs.
Will people can hide things pretty easily as far as like listening or video devices. But man, that's why I love like Airbnb, because at least you have a little bit of staying with superhosts, reviews. You have all the amount of time they've been doing it. Not to say that's not the case with other rental based VRBO or whatever. Or a bed and breakfast type thing, but it's always a worry of mine, because you're staying in someone's home.
Yeah, and after being in law enforcement for so long, I've just like really realized how weird people are.
Yeah,
like some people just have like fetishes, like things that you would just be like, what are you? How does that even turn you on? So I truly felt like, I'm like, hey, we gotta get out of here. Like, we've already spent $300. I'm like, so all we have to do is sleep here. So let's just go explore. Let's go do some pirate hunting.
You didn't want to explore in the Explorer?
No, absolutely not, dude. Okay. I wanted to do that, but just not in that moment. Took it to the van. Just kidding.
So when did you called me that night?
Yeah. So
at what point did you call me?
On the way to Bath.
Okay. So all that had happened.
Yeah, we had just walked out because I was like, Kyle, because I called you because I was like, dang, I need Kyle to know exactly where I'm at.
Yeah. Well, you started that text group.
Yeah.
And we were at Kyla's birthday dinner. And Erica was just dying laughing in this text group with Nicole and you and me and her. And that's when I messaged real quick, and I was like, hey, make sure that share your location and make sure you leave DNA if they take you, because that way we can find you.
Yeah, because I was like, I started touching the back of the toilet. I was like, Kyle, touch the back of the toilet. I was like, I said, on the corner of the mirror, there's my fingerprints. I'm like, because I'm not gonna lie, I was keeping it kind of cool, but I was pretty freaked out.
No, I could hear it in your voice.
When I found the anal lube,
when you called me, the text is all funny and stuff, but you kept texting, and I was like, oh, and then you called me, and I was like,
yeah, I called you.
It was a pretty clear. You called me, you're like, hey man, I'm not feeling pretty good about this, and I'm like, nor should you be. It is what it is. Like, I'm glad get out of there and tell them, like, hey, I'm uncomfortable with the layout of this bed and breakfast. I'd like my money back. We're gonna move locations. And you were kind of like, I don't care about the money. I'm like, well, I think if something makes you uncomfortable, that's cause for a refund, which you ended up.
I mean, they ended up like,
What'd you have to say that? Did you just tell them?
I was blunt, man.
Yeah.
I was blunt. I was like, hey man, I saw your Facebook. You got some pretty crazy pictures. I said, we feel uncomfortable. I said, our room's uncomfortable. I said, there's anal lube in our drawer. I'm like, hey man, I'm not trying to cause the issues, but I said, I have everything recorded, screenshotted, and saved. I'm just asking for you to do the right thing. Give me my refund back.
Yeah.
Because, because we called you when we left Bath on the way back. Because after we left Bath, I was like, I was on such a high. And then on the ride back, I was like, oh my God, like, we're not going to a Holiday Inn Express. We got to face these weirdos. And I'm like, dude, like.
It's funny how you say Holiday Inn Express.
Because that was our go-to too.
It's like a step. I know you have a step out.
Yeah. Dude, I love Holiday Inn Express.
Yeah.
They're nice. They're not Holiday Inns.
They've gotten better, yeah.
Maybe I've just been poor my whole adult life and thinking that was.
No, the big thing is like I'm not like, oh, I want to stay in a nicer place if we're going to stay in a hotel, but being consistent with the rewards, like Hilton,
Oh yeah,
just
yeah,
because being a Diamond member and all that, like it just helps.
Yeah.
Just same with airlines too, but
being consistent with those, it actually pays off.
Do you use your Holiday Inn Express rewards?
No, I'm actually a Hilton member now.
Yeah. As of when?
Since I started working for Blueberry. Same with All American.
But we don't stay in hotels by ourselves either. We double up.
Yep.
Or triple up. Put Tanner on the couch. Get a suite.
Or the floor. Just kidding, Tanner. You sleep with me.
Yeah.
You're precious. Little fella. But anyways.
He ended up getting the refund though, right?
Yeah. So he ended up being cool and understanding, and I don't think it's the first time they've ever dealt with it. I think they're throwing a vibe out, man. Yeah.
Like, to be honest, like,
it felt kind of
especially if they're
swingerish.
like, if they're not like blown away by it, like, what do you mean? It's like, nah, you're good. Here's your money back.
Yeah. Well, so like the sign, so
you gotta throw some lines in to see what you can catch. I guess.
So they live there, right? They live on the 3rd floor.
That worries me. Like
their room was right above mine.
Renting rooms out is something I won't do. Like Airbnb, it's got to be an entire house. But
I've never
apartment.
I've never experienced a bed and breakfast. So what's a better place to experience it than in like one of these small, super cool, like cute little towns?
You were hoping that there'd be like some old couple there and they'd make breakfast and.
Well, so that's what the Inn at Bath Creek is a bed and breakfast, and I have experienced those owners. I have met them, and they are an old couple and are phenomenal. I mean, because we found pictures on the Facebook of this dude in like December taking a photo, like in like this muscle shirt in this full devil costume.
Yeah, you sent me that, and I was like, "Go get out now."
Yeah, I was like,
"Holy!"
It's not Halloween. Like
it wasn't just like putting some horns on your head. It was like a full blown devil.
Hours of makeup to get to that point. But like the sign on the staircase that went upstairs to their like section said, "Do not come any further. You don't know what you'll see," with like these weird smiley faces. And it was like, dude,
that's crazy.
It was wild. So, because on the way back is when I called you, and then we got back to the bed and breakfast, and it was we'd already been in Bath for 4 or 5 hours. Mm-hmm. That's where we met Gene, who is the 9th generation grandson of the guy who sailed with Blackbeard. And so I was there in Bath way longer than what we thought we were going to be.
You were doing like the behind the scenes tour.
Oh, dude, yeah, it was gnarly. But Nicole wouldn't get out in the van. I'm like, hey, we got to go inside and get our stuff. I got Bonnie's bed, Bonnie's food, my bag, her makeup bag, and my book bag, and Bonnie's mat. I don't know if I said that.
Let me ask you this: was her suitcase packed the same way from our trip, like in May?
Yeah, so I had to unf that. I had to fix that back up because my wife, when she packs for the whole year. And what I mean by that is for the first vacation. If the first vacation is in January, then those clothes stay in that suitcase until December. Not folded, not clean. She throws them all back in there, leaves them in there. So when I say, hey, honey, it's time to pack, I'm packed. That's her theory. I'm packed.
Yeah.
Yeah, those clothes have been in. It's December.
I've seen it, which, it's impressive.
It's very impressive. And she still manages to like look great when we go somewhere. And I'm like, there's no way. That's impossible. That was packed in that suitcase. That's a rat nest.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. The woman's.
Which is kind of, she's well put together and like takes care of herself,
And then you see your suitcase and you're like, are you homeless? You got to be homeless.
So she wouldn't go in and help though. She's like, nah.
Nah, but
I'm sitting in the truck.
She grew up in Fayetteville, so.
North Carolina.
So that's kind of maybe where the suitcase thing goes. But
she's a North Carolinian.
Fayetteville Indian.
Yeah.
Yep. That's how that goes. Maybe. Yeah. But no, dude, she sat in a van. She's like, go up and get our stuff. And I'm like, nope. Keep coming with me. I'm like, I can't carry everything down spiral staircases. And then like, I need a point man. Like, I'm gonna get up there, and they're gonna gang me in this room. They're gonna come out the ceilings. They're gonna come through out of closets. So my walk to this house was like, I don't know, 30, 40 yards from my van. Dude, the things that were going through my head on that walk, bro, I cleared that whole structure like James Bond. You would have thought that that was my Radisson Blu, and I had to get to my room, bro, because I was terrified. I got to my room and was clearing closets under the bed. I was like, hey, if you're in here, I'm shooting you. Like I got our stuff. I clipped bags. That's why I had those carabiners too on my bag that you were like, nice. Because I was clipping bags together. And I had one bag with 4 bags clipped on because I had Bonnie's dog food, Bonnie's bed, and Nicole's makeup bag. And of course, she's got like all of her zippers unzipped in her bag. So things are hair dryer falling out. I'm like, hey man, bump it. Like I'm not going back in for it. So like, and that's finally when we left. And I was like, all right, hey, we left. You don't have to worry about me. But that's when I sent the text, and you could tell they've dealt with this before because he was responsive. It wasn't argumentative. He was like, hey man, issue your refund. Sorry about that. No, I'm good.
You said you were going to do it.
No.
Yeah.
Last time I tried anything from a dip can, my first time.
You'd have to get up and throw up if you did.
I threw up in the popcorn bucket.
Yeah.
In the middle of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the night that it came out. It was the most embarrassing thing in my life. So, plus those are 3s in that can that says 6.
Yeah.
If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do a 6.
We'll see. Maybe the next episode. Yeah.
But no, man, yeah. So we had that, right? We had that weekend. Learned a lot about Blackbeard. There's a book out there for anybody who's into pirates. It's written by an older guy named Gene. His 9th generation grandfather was Blackbeard's first mate. And he's got a bunch of documentations to prove a lot of it, but he wrote a book called Blackbeard to the Revolution. And it's a good book. Mine gets delivered today, but he actually showed us where Blackbeard was originally buried. And a lot of people says he's buried in the Caribbean, but that's not true. He was decapitated in Ocracoke on November 22nd, 1718 by Captain Maynard. So I learned a lot about that too, right? Captain Maynard and him had engaged into a sword fight, and Captain Maynard's sword had broke, and Blackbeard went to stab him, and then that's when Blackbeard was partially decapitated.
By one of the other...
By a 17-year-old kid who'd only been in the Army not that long, or the British Navy. So they took his head, right? They cut his head off and threw his body over. Well, once Blackbeard's crew saw that he had died, there were several who still could escape. And that guy's 9th generation grandfather was one of the guys who jumped off the boat into the water and then swam to Ocracoke, along with several other pirates. But the ones that didn't do that were actually taken to Williamsburg, Virginia, and was hung. Mm-hmm. But so they took Blackbeard's body to a shore, and Captain Maynard and his crew took Blackbeard's head to Bath, North Carolina, not to display it in Bath, but to get medical attention and to show that Blackbeard was killed, because the governor of North Carolina at that time, his name was Charles Eden. He was extremely corrupt. So Governor Spotswood of Virginia is the one who actually issued the capture and kill of Blackbeard, because Governor Eden had gave Blackbeard a pardon in June of 1718, but did the Charleston raid in May of 1718. And he gave him a pardon because he was so corrupt, Blackbeard gave him half of that loot. So Blackbeard and Governor Charles Eden were extremely close, and actually had a house within 50 yards from each other, which Blackbeard built an underground tunnel so he could take the loot to Charles Eden. So, but once the governor found out that Blackbeard he gave him a pardon, it raised some flags, and that's when the governor of Virginia said, absolutely not, capture and kill him, because Chesapeake Bay was one of the biggest places. That area is where the governor at the time lived, and that was next on Blackbeard's list, because Blackbeard would go out, take ships, take him to Beaufort, North Carolina, part him out, and then take the money and give it to not Captain Maynard, but
North Carolina governor.
But give it to Governor Eden. But once Blackbeard got his pardon, he found the richest plantation owner in Bath and married his daughter, Mary Odom. And they were only married for a couple months. Blackbeard only did that because he wanted to get political, and then impregnated, she was 16, the richest man in North Carolina at the time, his daughter. But she got mouthy on the cruise ship, and ultimately Blackbeard gave her to the crew, and they got a divorce shortly after. But anyways, Blackbeard's body was taken to Ocracoke and was actually put in a rum barrel of rum because they thought that it would preserve his body until they could get it to Bath. Once they got it to Bath, there was a cemetery in the town, which is still there, that they were going to bury him and 4 other of his pirates. Actually, the guy's 9th generation grandfather was the one that died with Blackbeard. So the other fleeing pirates got his body and Blackbeard's body and were taking it to Bath. Sorry for that confusion. But because this is how they know where Blackbeard was actually buried. They're going to bury him in that cemetery, and decided that they couldn't because the town was like, nope, that's a sacred cemetery. He's a pirate. He's not going in that cemetery. So they said, okay, cool. This road is public property. So we're going to bury him right here on the side of the road, right next to the cemetery. So if you actually look at the map, and I don't have any way to show you guys, but every road, every side street is straight, except for the one at St. Thomas Church. It goes down and it curves out, and that's because they rebuilt the road around that. Mm-hmm. So in 1733, they got permission to build a church there, but also got permission to actually bury Blackbeard and his pirates in that cemetery. So they redug them up, put them in the cemetery, but then put St. Thomas Church, which is the oldest church in North Carolina. It was built in 1734. So in 1733, they redug them, put them in the grave, and then built the church on top of them. And he truly believes that treasure that is worth $18.4 million in today's money is buried with him that's never been found. Mm-hmm. And because back then, what a crime would it be to tear a church down just to try to dig up Blackbeard's bones?
That takes a lot of willpower to depend from when they dug him up and reburied him.
Yeah.
To also rebury the treasure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, because why would you not? But I guess
he ain't gonna miss it. You know what I mean?
But I think it was that dude he was loved, and he was a god in Bath because he would show up. And so Bath had 50 people in the town at the time, and he would show up with pearls and rubies and so money back then was Spanish coins. It's called pieces of 8
tokens, and
a piece of 8 can require so an 8 real coin is a bigger coin. It was worth $1 back then, which is worth $64 now. That's called an 8 real coin. Then they had 4 real coins, which was 50 cents. 2 real coins worth 10, and then 2.5 worth 5 cents. So back then, that was, to have $1 was a lot of money. And he was just slinging those. Like, he would come in and shower everybody with pearls and booze and good food. And man, they loved him there. Yeah. But how I know this guy's not BSing, and this proved it for me. This is when I was on my pirate hunting high, was when he was actually able to give me the address, and we actually went and saw Mary Odom's gravesite, which, unless you know about this, who else would know where Blackbeard's only on paper wife was buried, which was the mother of his child. Craziness.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
and this is the guy that you're FaceTiming, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And that was,
you're best friends with this 90-year-old dude.
Yeah. Yeah. So this lady, her name was Teresa, man. We were looking for Blackbeard's house. There is a house in Bath, North Carolina, guys. It's not his house. It's over by the point, Sloop Point, where he would come in at. It's not his house. It was on Google that it was his house because every year they do a reenactment of Blackbeard, and that's where the actor sets out of, as this little shack. It's not his house at all. So if you ever go there, it's not his house. But we're sitting there and we're looking up Google, trying to find this house. And this lady's like, she's in the street. She's hammered, right? She's like, "Are you Samantha?" We're like, she's old. I'm like, "No, ma'am." She's like, "Well, what y'all doing here?" I'm like, big Blackbeard fanatic. And she's like sitting there. She knew a lot of knowledge too. She was just sitting there spitting everything out. And she started looking at all my pirate tattoos and my Queen Anne Revenge on my neck. She goes, "Oh, you really like Blackbeard?" She's like, "You need to call Gene." I'm like, "Ma'am, I don't know who Gene is, and you are 10 sheets to the wind." And she calls Jane. She's like, "Jane, I got this boy here who loves pirates. Blackbeard covered in tattoos, knows all about him." And then, man, she like hands me her phone and goes inside. And I sat outside and talked to this dude for like an hour and a half. And once we get back from all this trip, they also run some Airbnbs.
What was Nicole doing?
Oh, she's loving it, dude.
Yeah,
she was loving it. Like, which was it was cool for me because I was worried about her being bored with it. But man, she was like all about it, because when you started hearing this dude's story and things are making sense, because it's so different from what you're reading online, which is like fake. Like, once you start hearing the things, it's so fascinating. Like pirates, every pirate is part of the pirate codes. And if you buy a book called The Pirate Code by Rebecca Sim, you would see that the first chapter, she lists every captain's pirate codes that they had to abide by. So like if you were a captain of a pirate ship and me and Ethan joined your ship, right? Or I was already a mate and I signed the code, I signed the document, and he was a slave that we just happened to take off another ship. He had two options. He could either sign the code and get the loot, or he's just going to be a helping hand for free. But if we ever got caught because he didn't sign the code, he wouldn't get hung as a pirate. Only I would. Very interesting, man. So it's a good book. I'm reading it now. It's called The Pirate's Code. But pirates would, one thing that they had to do is they had to wear gold earrings. And the reason why they had to wear gold earrings is it was their life insurance.
Yeah. When
they died, they would take out the gold earrings and give them a proper burial, because pirates didn't just get dug up and thrown into a ditch. If you go along any of the North Carolina East Coast towns, or even just a little bit inland where pirates frequent, and even especially down in the Caribbeans, go to like an old grave site and find the grave that doesn't have a tombstone, but has like a concrete oyster bedding over top of it. And that's a pirate grave. They would keep sharp oyster shells on the pirate grave, because one, to decorate it as a pirate grave, and two, to keep birds from just kind of coming down and sitting on it, because it was so sharp and pointy. Mm-hmm. So, because they didn't want to be picked to death by crows. It was because if you go look at every pirate in history that's ever been hung, they're all at these coastal towns: Charleston, Bath, Williamsburg, or Chesapeake. And they hang them to be pecked to death by birds. That was a major sign of disrespect. They had actually put oil on them so it would take longer to eat them. So, sorry to get pirate nerd on you.
No,
but
you're good. That's
man, it was an
just checking in,
Oh man, but
this is like a few hours in Blake's life.
Oh man, yeah, this is, guys. I know everybody probably thinks I love like guns and CQBs, and man, I couldn't tell you half the nomenclatures about guns, but I can tell you anything you want to know about pirates. That's my, I don't know, man. We talked about it last episode. It's just a big passion. But there's an Airbnb in Bath that they just turned it into an Airbnb. It used to be a house back in the colonial days. It's beautiful. It's right on the water in Bath Creek where Blackbeard like anchored. And they're like, hey, we were talking about social medias, and I was showing them our social medias, and I'm hoping that in December they're actually going to host us for a weekend.
Yeah.
15 bedrooms. Super cool. So, and it's like right across the street from the church, and it's just, man, it's just rich with history. So I'm going to follow up with her on that.
Yeah.
That was awesome. It'd be cool to get the families together too, to go to like a small little community where we can just kind of all hang out and grill out, and
like one of those islands.
Yeah. And just relax.
Yeah. What else, man?
Then we had busy week with the elections, and then we just a lot of stuff.
I don't know what day it is. It's Thursday.
Today's Thursday. This week was crazy.
Kyla's birthday was pretty chill. She didn't want to do anything crazy, so we just did a dinner. And obviously, that's the same day that you were experiencing your Airbnb Explorer version, or Bed and Breakfast Explorer version. Yeah, and then my back is killing me. Like it's an old injury. I say old, but it's something that's I got to take care of. My first team leader in the unit just connected me, because the big thing is after retirement, man. Like spiritual health and mental health has been my focus, but the physical health has been something that's kind of, I don't have the same structure and resources that I used to, where for the right reasons, like you have a place for everything. But these past 2 months I've been miserable and just continuing to go because of my lower back. But found out I got a couple broken vertebrae, which is on top of the herniations and all that other stuff and sciatica. But I had a procedure yesterday or day before, or no, it was yesterday morning, and felt like I was in a car accident. We went on the range and we're validating a few things for the course coming up this weekend. But
yeah, you look like you were hurting.
Yeah, it's definitely something I got to prioritize now, man. There's no reason I shouldn't. Because it's if you deal with pain, man, it's something that it makes you agitated, it makes you uncomfortable, obviously, but your quality of life changes. And I refuse to be put on pain meds again. And in the military, excuse me, that first team leader I was talking about connected me with the Fort Liberty at Womack, the pain management. So they're really good, man, and they're 100% like on board with not giving me pain meds and all that. So I just got to do my due diligence, because I haven't been able to work out like I normally do in 2 months, and it's been pretty awful. But yeah,
but you said you had your MRI, right? Or you already got one, or you're waiting?
No, I'm getting another one. I had to go back through the process, getting x-rays and the MRI. They won't see me on post because they're so booked. They won't see retired. So they had to refer it out for the MRI. So
that's better though.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know, man, because this whole process I've done before, same deal. They were booked up. So they pushed it out to the network, and I got seen off post, which I was like, oh, that's better. But man, it was like this pain pill mill. You know what I mean? So like they were doing these things to check blocks versus like actually getting deep into the weeds on what's going to help you or me. And
because the military is more regulated on that, right? The pain,
I don't know.
Pills?
Like I never went through the military system for it. It was always through like an off-post provider. So won't do that again. And this is just the images. I'm under the care of the doc there on post now. So I'm hopeful, but I'm also extremely uncomfortable.
Yeah, we need to get that fixed, especially before we start really diving into next year.
Yeah, because we're heading out
in the morning.
In the morning. I'm doing a speaking thing at a big church in Western North Carolina, actually, and then we're flying out of Charlotte. Tanner left this morning to drive to Florida, but we're flying out of Charlotte to run the open enrollment down at Palm Bay.
Yeah, and then we jump right back on an airplane, go to Nashville.
Yep.
Do some stuff there, and
gonna link up with Sean Ryan.
Oh, it's gonna be cool to see him.
Do like a exclusive episode type thing, a short thing, together, which will be cool. And then
it's refreshing being around that dude.
Yeah,
it's like an energy that he just kind of like puts off that is just, I don't know, it's really refreshing.
Yeah, it is.
They've been playing a lot of your clips here lately.
Well,
that's good.
Yeah, that's one of the clipped pages or whatever.
Yeah, I forgot how good your episode on that show was.
Well, that's why I've been resharing a few of those, because
there's a lot of
like
good
them
points
tagging me, and like I'm listening to it, because I've only listened to the episode once, like when it came out that day, and I haven't listened to it again. But seeing some of those clips being shared more recently, like there is some really good points and the reason I'm sharing them is because it's validating that the things I was saying back then are still true.
Yeah.
And extremely valid. And then personally, to see my own growth has been in consistency and just the work. It's very encouraging. That it's not like I was 180 degrees out, but there's been a lot of growth like since then. So
there's been a lot of growth with just between both of us in a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people are really starting to see it, because I think people were super excited when we first linked up.
Yeah.
And then now people are just, it's cool to still see that same excitement from people, right? Because it's not like it just died off, but it's, what we're doing is we're just doing something different. We're growing not only as a company, but we're growing as men, Christian men and brothers along the process, and we're sharing that with everybody, which I don't think a lot of people do. A lot of people just want to show like the CQB, this is all we do, but we're showing like everything.
Yeah.
And it's cool to still,
I mean, that's the big reason we're doing this show is to have this outlet to where we're not focused on training. We're not focused on a curriculum. Not that we're not personable. That's what sets us apart, is the humility, the authenticity, the sincerity that people see that we have when we're teaching, but what they don't see is this. So I'm really excited about this as we continue to get more into a groove with this show, and who knows where it's going to go, man. And
it's cool to just talk like about our weeks, what we're doing, what we have going on. Like I think that's things that people really want to hear, is just what is our day-to-day daily life like? Yeah. Like people I'm sure saw little bits and pieces of our weekends, but what did we actually do is what's cool. Yeah.
And you got to think too, though, is like a lot of that, like on social media, is just like maybe some stories that get put up.
Yeah.
But then that's gone after 24 hours. This will be something that, whether you watch it when an episode comes out right away or you watch it in 4 months after, like it's there. It'll be there, and you'll see us cutting up. You'll see us like saying things stupid, saying stupid things sometimes, saying very profound things, and and I think the cool part is like being consistent with this, putting the 2 episodes out a month, and then 2 bonus episodes on top of that. So you'll have something every week coming out, the bonus episodes being on Patreon, because if you don't know what that is, Patreon is the reason that this company can do things like this, to build a studio, to have payroll, just the consistency with, it's not a money grab. Sure, it's a paid subscription, a paywall, but we're very intentional and good stewards of the fact that people are paying, whether it's monthly or yearly, for something. Right?
Yeah.
And the easy button is training videos, and that's something that we're going to continue to do because I love doing it. And there's so much knowledge that we have to share. And there is so many ways to do things. There are some very basic things to focus on, but it gives people options. Like to where if you want to come and see some more exclusive, kind of unhinged or unfiltered, whatever-ish versions of this show, Patreon. If you want some CQB or some kit suggestions, Patreon.
Yeah.
And then the fellowship. That fellowship call has been something that's changed my life, and it's a Zoom call. But
man, I was trying to make that so bad the other night.
Well, you did. You were in it.
I was trying. It's just the service was in and out, but that was a good one, man. So what I will say is you've gotten really good at getting some structure for yourself for that, and like really good like topics, like talking points.
I appreciate that.
And that was because me and Nicole both listened to it. That was a really good
last week.
Yeah, they're just getting better, and especially
things I'm genuinely curious about too. Like. Well, I don't have the answer. I don't have all the answers. None of us do. But collectively, like, we can come up with things that are founded in truth, which is Scripture, and we that's the fellowship, aspect of it. It's the team training. I love you said that a long time ago about what this is or what that fellowship meeting is, and we talk about sobriety, of course, but it's not a recovery meeting. We talk about recovery. We talk about,
or therapy.
It's not therapy either, but there are some things that you can take away and apply into your life. But it's just that perfect practice makes permanent. Yeah. Boom. Like that's not my statement or saying. I was told that, and I believe it because it's intentionality with what we're doing in our lives, and then practicing it. And with that intentionality, it can become something that you have in your life, and that spiritual growth. Like this Friday, it's about emotional intelligence, because last Friday they all kind of build on each other, things that come up, and that's why it was on hope and faith, because I truly believe like you have to have that intentional practice. You have to have the surrender, which equates to faith, and then hope fills your life with peace and joy. And coming from guys that have lived in the most chaotic of environments and operated in them, like let me silence my cell phone.
Sir, please silence all phones.
Can you actually just pause it right there? All right, so sorry for that studio break there. Old Tanner, our son, our child.
Our sweet, precious little boy.
Yeah, our intern, our Army intern. He's driving down, like I said, to Palm Bay, and just want to make sure, because he's got all the things with him that he's taking care of or whatever. He's good to go now. But
did he say that he was calling because he misses us?
No. And then I told him, I was like, hey, we're recording for the next little bit of time here. So if you got anything, just call Erica. And you could tell he's like,
Roger that.
I messed up. Like,
Tanner, you made an appearance on the show.
Yeah, that's what I told him. I was like, you made it on the show. So this isn't a sales pitch, just giving you guys a look into what the fellowship is as a part of Patreon and why it's so important in our lives. I look forward to it. I'm getting better about the preparation. Thank you for validation of because we need to do that more. Validate one another. Like men of like mind. And I can only speak for men because I am a man. And but no, I appreciate you saying that, and it's something that when those opportunities present themselves, I do and I will keep doing for you, because I love you, Blakey Poop.
Wow.
But in tradition, I want to keep the tradition of the episode.
That is not my name.
It is now. It's a term of endearment.
Did you make a Build-A-Bear and name it Blakey Poo? I got the picture and I was like, it
was perfect.
Is there a Build-A-Bear?
Kennedy wanted me to send you that photo.
Did you?
No, that's the tier 100 level of Patreon when we dive into that. But no,
nobody better call me Blakey Poo.
Everyone better. But what I was going to say is, in tradition, like the first episode, Kennedy wanted to ask you a question, which I asked you about the choice, and you haven't had to deal with the repercussions of that yet fully, or no? Did Nicole watch the episode?
Yeah.
So it comes out here soon, but I'm sure once it gets some gain some steam too, it's one of those things that just keeps giving,
She was like,
over time.
I don't need no man to save me. I save myself. I don't need no man. I can swim. I don't need no man. I was like, all right then. You just say Bonnie.
Well, so Kyla, my daughter that turned 19 this past weekend, wanted me to ask you a question, and she said, if you could go back in time.
Okay.
To a younger version of yourself, and tell yourself something, what would that be, and why? If you could go back at any point in your life, and with all the things you've experienced in your life now, when would you go back to, a time frame, kind of set the scene, and then what would you tell yourself?
Wow.
She's also studying psychology.
Man, that's a deep university. That's a deep question. Man, I'd probably go back to 20-year-old Blake that was sitting on the curb outside Hibbett Sporting Goods. And I wish I could sit there and tell him to hang on. It's going to be a ride. Because a year and a half later, I was blown up. And I wish I could have. I was blown up. I was married.
Blown up like
overseas.
Yeah.
In an IED. And
did you have that up here last time?
No.
Heart?
Yeah, I just brought it down. Yeah, my certificate of my Purple Heart for. I actually got it. The day I got it was June the 12th of 2022. So it's a day before my birthday.
Mm-hmm.
So, no, I wish I could have go back to younger Blake, and even if I could go back to 18-year-old Blake, I wish I could have told him to grow up, take college a little bit more seriously. But I wouldn't have changed anything that I did, because every screw up, every blessing, every thing that I didn't understand, I would have hugged that dude and just said, "Hey, man, everything's going to be all right." Because the last 15 years have been up and down roller coasters.
Yeah.
Just one thing after another. But what I know now at 35 is, and for any young person that's watching this that has no idea what your 20s and 30s are going to throw at you and what life is going to throw at you, everything, whether it's an incredible opportunity or an incredible tragedy that's going to happen in your life, and you're going to experience both of those regardless, without a shadow of a doubt, maybe multiple. Know that there is a plan behind each one of those, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. And it's taken me, at 20 years old, I never would have comprehended, one, what we were going to go through, and even same with you, but I know that now at 35, that everything that has happened to me in my life, breakups, bad things, dad being on drugs, just jobs and injuries, everything has led me to this chair right here. And if either one of those things, and the good or bad, wouldn't have happened, then maybe I wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
But I definitely would have hugged that dude and said, it's going to be all right. It's going to be all right.
Well, thank you for that.
Yeah.
That's a hard question to.
I didn't expect that.
Yeah. I'm telling you, man, she's like really
she's
into
super intelligent, man.
Yeah. And very curious about it, very interested, and she wants to continue to grow.
She doesn't have a personality of a 19-year-old.
No.
She's very mature for her age. And you can tell that by just the way she talks and questions like that. Like that's a mature question.
It is.
And
as you're responding to it, I'm thinking about how I would respond. And
how would you respond? Let's reverse that.
No.
She asked you that.
No. Because I'm literally going to go into, let's save that. I'll go into that on the bonus episode. I think that'd be a really good.
Yeah. Let's save that.
Because
that's a hard question, man. Like that made me emotional.
Yeah.
Because I've thought about that so many times. Like at the time,
I agree with what you. Yeah. I agree with what you said. I wouldn't change anything.
Because it led you here. It led you right here in front of these cameras. Like,
just that encouragement, though, is the most important part.
Yeah, just let him know, hey, it's going to be okay. I can't tell you what's going to happen because you need to experience it to help mature, right? Because you're very immature right now. Mm-hmm. And everything you're about to go through is really going to mature you and prepare you. Like, my path, man, everything that happened to me, whether doesn't matter what I wanted to do in the Army. I got hurt, wasn't able to, but I got out and was put on another path, and that path, along with those mentors I had in my life, Brian Bailey, Alan Holland, one of my really good friends passed away yesterday. Sean Collins was a major mentor in my life. May that dude forever rest in peace, and prayers for him and his family for peace. But all those dudes, Chuck Cochran, are the reason why I'm even able to be an instructor at Blueberry. And then obviously meeting you and the growth, right? What they helped me with was to get me through the door. And then you have been a major influence in my life on my growth as being a tactician and as a dad. And I mean, I'm 18 months sober.
Yeah. Congratulations on that.
Yeah. It's great, man.
Yeah.
Like, God, drinking sucks. It does. But I have a question for you.
Oh.
So, and I get this question a lot on Instagram. Guys, just message him and ask him the questions. But because I've gotten this one so many times, people really want to know more about when you were deployed, on where the whole hand grenade and handgun marathons workout running really started from. That's the most asked question I get. Is, did he really run with a handgun and a grenade? I said, well, a year and a half ago, before I knew him, I would think about that and be like, I don't know. But now that I know you, I'm like, I'm surprised this dude didn't have an RPG instead of a handgun running up and down the mountains. Which, if you can't elaborate, if you ever did have an RPG running up and down the mountains.
There was other ways of patrolling. There was different. I would scale it up and down, but I love that question because it sucked. Like that time in that deployment just sucked. Everything about it sucked. Like we were literally like we had to fight every single day, and then when we actually were able to take over with the support we needed overhead, all the things, that's when Ryan Hendrickson got hurt. We ended up we stayed is the village stability stuff operations, and a very traditional, unconventional warfare type mission. And it just sucked, man. Like the mayor of that town, we come in and we're like, hey man, we're here. We need a place to base out of. We're going to stay here. And they're like, no one's ever just stayed here. It's always been just like flying in and flying out, like nighttime things or whatever. And he's like, well, and we were like, we'd like to have that compound over there, mud hut village thing. And he's like, that's someone that owns that. But we got a really good place for you guys. And it was like these 4 walls, dilapidated, I was like, this isn't a compound. This is just 4 walls that are barely standing. So we had to build out all the little things and routines and daily kind of operations, but also maintain a level of mental health and fitness, being a part of that. And it was a part of my like routine. And, there's times where I would go out in full kit, and use that as exercise as well. But then there'd be times where I want to go on more of a run. And Ranger panties, no shirt, pistol, grenade in one hand, pistol in the other, and a tourniquet wrapped around my waist, like extended out. I was a little thinner back then, but
that's actually
and I would run to the highest point there, and like, boom, and it was creating this like I was desensitizing them to our presence, but also like, oh my God, because the looks I would get.
Oh, who's the American running with a hand grenade
and
a pistol?
Yeah,
and a tourniquet around your stomach.
No, but it's very real. It was very real, and it was intentional. It was for me. You got to get creative, and you assume a ton of risk by being out there.
Oh,
like
yeah.
We were. You're hanging it out, man. And people knew where I was going. They were tracking me and all that. It wasn't like I was just
rogue.
Yeah.
It's a funny story because that's what you don't hear about those things over there.
And culturally, like people that haven't been there in Afghanistan will never really understand this. That's a bit outside of the culture kind of norm of presence. So it stands out a bit.
So they gave you a crappy compound.
Yeah.
You ran around with a pistol and a hand grenade.
for exercise.
For exercise.
Certain days. It wasn't like that's my uniform every day. I'd get a little more dressed up through the day.
But I know you.
But I've definitely...
And I can see you doing that.
I've definitely been in
100%.
flip-flops and Ranger panties just getting it on, too. You know? But that's a good question. You guys just ask me next time.
Yeah, just ask him.
Yeah. Don't be afraid. I'm just a dude. Playing another dude.
He's just make sure that before you ask the question, just ask him if he's eating, because then he gets sassy.
Well, I think that's a good spot to stop this episode, and we hope you enjoyed it. Keep looking out, like and subscribe, please, to all the things, YouTube, the Spotify, Apple Podcast, all the different platforms. Check us out on Patreon for all the exclusive gear, gun, training videos. But we're really excited about the bonus episodes from this show. You're gonna have an episode out every week if you join us on Patreon as well. But that's all we got, and we'll see you on the next one.
See you on the next one. You gotta do the outro.
Like, now I know that we're recording still, so now I'm like, what do I say? Gotta be funny.
I just play the guitar, dude.
Yeah. Well, we get some butt rock going. It's real quiet.
Some what rock?
Butt rock. It's the rock that plays from your butt.
Oh, you need to go stay at that bed and breakfast then.
Like the soundtrack for our intro.
Starship Commander, you did a great job with our soundtrack.
All right.
Have you heard from Creed?
Yeah, they liked my thing. No. Heck no. They're on tour, man. They're busy.
Well, so we go to a concert and then hijack them and then make them be a sponsor.
That'll come, man. If you build it, they will. If you build it, they will come.
Just give me a chance.
said that.
Just give me a chance. Like, when you are with me. That almost sounds legit.
All right, I'm out.
No, don't leave me. Don't leave me, Father. Welcome to the Blue Show.